Welcome to the main hangar at the Norfolk and Suffolk Aviation Museum on a fairly cold and damp February morning in 2024. This is just a set-up shot around the hangar just to show you what's available to the public to come in and see. The particular focus this morning, though, is the cockpit section that we've got sitting down just in front of us down here. It's a Hawker Siddeley Seahawk. And it's the subject of a special request. A lady called Cassie emailed the museum and said, could we actually take a video of the Seahawk cockpit? Because it was something that was seen by her grandfather in Chippenham, of all places. Well, we've traced the history of the aircraft and there's no mention of Chippenham. But we'll take a closer look and see what turns up. Right, I'm going to disappear from the top of the ladder down here without falling off it, but I'm going to finish off with a shot around to the most important part. You might not be able to see it completely over the far side there, but the NAFI is the warm beating heart of the museum. Just bear with me while I get down the ladder. Okay, back on the ground again. Our particular Seahawk is serial number WV838, and it was built by Armstrong Siddeley in 1954, but not taken on strength with the Navy until 5 months later in the early part of 55. Now, the aircraft type was offered to the Air Force initially, but they refused it on the basis that Vampires and other new emerging aircraft were much faster and much more capable. But the Navy loved it, and they really wanted to have some, and eventually took something like 550 of the type. Now, our aircraft, numbered 182, was actually taken on strength for the Navy at Abbotssinch in 1955 and made its way to 802 RNES at Lossiemouth, where it stayed either as a ground-based aircraft or on HMS Eagle for a short period of time. And it was actually preserved at one point as being surplus to requirements. It was fairly soon de-preserved, and at the back you can see the squadron plaques of those squadrons that took control of the aircraft for a particular time, mostly at RAF or RNES Lossiemouth up in Scotland. So we've got 802 Squadron, where she left rested with Eagle and saw service. 806, 738 and 736 squadrons, all of them at Lossiemouth. Now, it was while the aircraft was with 736 Squadron that it suffered a tyre failure whilst it was taking off in a formation takeoff from Lossiemouth. The subsequent loss of control took it at speed through the safety fence, and the aircraft was effectively 2 months later written off from service. It was beyond economic repair, and it simply wasn't going to be able to get to fly again. So it was dismantled, wings off, tail off, fuselage away, and the cockpit section was separated, and it was taken down for storage and eventual disposal. And in fact, it was sold for scrap. Lived for fully 40 years on a scrap heap before the nose section was discovered. The remains of the aircraft were effectively bought at auction at that point. And various parts of even the nose section, the nose leg particularly, was sold off for other people who wanted to have either restored elements for their own Seahawks or simply for scrap. After 40 years of neglect, there was an awful lot of work to do to the nose section to make it look even reasonably like a Seahawk again. And Roy Coates from Liverpool took on the task He spent 3 years trying to find the parts that were going to make the thing at least look like a Seahawk, and has done a superb job in the process. The control stick is in fact original to the nose section, although it was separated from WV838 for quite some time. The aircraft was actually put on display at the Liverpool Aviation gala in 2006, and then 3 years later was passed to another owner who kept it for a couple of years before passing it on to the current owners. The aircraft is effectively on loan to the Norfolk and Suffolk Aviation Museum at the moment, and is a valuable contribution to what we have termed Cockpit Alley, where many cockpit sections are available for the public to climb into, or at least look into, for photographs and simply for education, so that people can actually see what these aeroplanes were like to sit into. We're particularly pleased with WV838 because, as far as we know, there are only 3 or 4 bits of Seahawk anywhere in the world at the moment. So what we have is a unique reminder of what the Navy service were flying in the mid-50s. And only 550 of them were built in the first place, so preserving one of those 550, or at least part of those, part of that aircraft, is something that we take a great deal of pride in. So even though the nose section's in a fairly busy hangar, in amongst a lot of other similar sort of exhibits, I hope, Cassie, that we've actually managed to give you what you wanted in terms of a walk around of the nose section, and maybe if your grandfather, who I think was the original requester for this video, gets to see this, then he'd actually be pleased that the nose section is preserved. It's in good hands, and it's being looked after at about the best place it could be to be taken care of. Thanks for writing in. If anybody else watching this has got any other requests for short videos for anything that's on display in the museum, we're more than happy to take an email or a Facebook message in order to see if we can produce some for what is, at the moment at least, a fairly slow YouTube channel, but something we can maybe look to expand in the near future. Do contact us, let us know, and we'll see what we can do.